Like Jack the Ripper before it, Jack the Stripper remains unsolved and unknown. Indeed.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Indeedy dude our day. And if you are watching live, yes, we are now live. You can see us. You can hear us. John is having his first drink of the week. And I think after that, he probably deserves it. Well done, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for those of us going who are watching either live or watching back on demand, we'd like your feedback on this new sort of style, this new setup, the way we are looking at these stories, from the intro to the voiceover work and all of that. We'd very much like your feedback. But my main takeaway from what I just saw, John, was that despite all of the advances in technology, despite all of the advances in DNA and detection methods and the like, the police are just as incompetent now as they were back then.
Probably more so, actually.
Yeah.
Probably more so. Yeah, and I made a couple of mistakes in there. I think I put the wrong girl in for the third Scottish girl. But you know, and there was one thing that maybe did link the two outliers. You know, the girls that were killed in 59 and 63.
Okay.
Because although the unfortunately Gwyneth, who was in the who had been in the refuse depot, her body was very badly damaged and you couldn't really get much from her. But the other girl who had been found against the tree, Elizabeth Frigg, she had a tooth extracted, i.e. a missing tooth, which is a strange one.
So I listened intently, and in my opinion, this is just as a lay person, I don't think Jones did the stripper murders. I think he was just a crazed child killer.
Yeah, well, you see, it's quite confusing actually, because there's conflicting reports and evidence. A lot of people say that Jones had no sexual activity regarding his victims, which and initially when you look at the Nude murders, you get the impression there wasn't any sexual activity, but when you actually start to dig into it, there was.
Yeah.
It just wasn't at the lower end. It was all done at the head, you know?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, initially you think Jones just killed the two girls, you know, the two young girls, but he didn't. He actually did try and sexually assault them as well. So
I get that.
There was, although at his trial and during psychiatrists that spoke to him afterwards, they said that he was just he just got enough from the actual killing to satisfy himself. Well, I don't think he did. I really don't. And when you read, if you want to read about how he killed Florence, who was only 11, if you want to read how that was done, it's just it was too much, I think, for, you know, even a post Watershed program. It was just, the detail was too much.
I mean, we live in a world that has many, many, many people who are sick in the head. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But certain details stuck with me, like the flecks of automotive paint, which that young man probably wasn't anywhere near. So that's why I feel like these things aren't connected. I feel like the ones with the flecks of automotive paint obviously connected, because that's a pretty big, you know, that's a pretty big indicator. Also, with the MO of the teeth missing and the likes, these seem like trophy being taken, in my opinion, because I'm assuming the teeth themselves were never found.
No, they weren't.
So these seem like trophies, and this is somebody who purposely, this is me, by the way, I'm someone who purposely did not look into this story. I did it on purpose because I wanted to get it fresh from what you had done and what you had recorded and what you explained. I think you've done it very well. But personally speaking, I really do think there's at least 2 different killers here. It just doesn't sit.
I think the two girls were killed in 1921, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and he served his time, and then he came out. Did he start again? I actually don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it was.
No,
him.
I don't.
I think it was just maybe coincidence that he lived nearby. And he only stayed 2 streets away from Mungo Mungo, Ireland? You know, the Scottish guy.
I mean, what a name.
Mungo, Ireland from Dundee.
Mungo, Ireland.
From Dundee. But yeah, and I don't think he was a killer either, because I think he killed himself because of the hit and run accident that he had been summoned for. So that's just my supposition, though. I think I don't know what you think about my idea, but I think 5-Day Johnny's got to be in the frame.
Well,
see, the thing that got me was everybody, i.e. the 6 girls that were killed, not the ones in 59 or 63, but every other body was found in a different police subdivision, sometimes pretty close to the boundary. Now, it's all very well to put them in a different division, right? But would you know where your subdivisions change?
No.
No, you probably wouldn't. And for that to happen, I think you've got to have some kind of inside knowledge.
And I think why I'm going to give you 2 modern day reasons why your theory could have plausibility. Mm-hmm. It's the Metropolitan Police and Wayne Couzens exists.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah,
it's a very interesting one, and it's one that I kind of knew about on the periphery, but it's interesting how.
Well, I mean, right. Actually, here's a good one from Spencer in the chat. It was a good twist to ponder about the superintendent, but I doubt it was him. His colleagues would probably have caught him out. How? One, he wasn't the superintendent, he was the chief superintendent, so he was the superior of all the other detectives.
He was the guy.
Yeah, he was the top guy. He was their star, right? So he would know. He was
their Cressida Dick.
Yeah, he would know everything, right? He would know everything that was going on, and he would know how to, obviously from his vast experience, he would know how to get around things, right? Now,
yeah.
And the other thing that gets me is there's 2 other police officers were in the frame. One the superintendent of the Sweeney, and the other one the cop. I mean, it begins to sound like a bit of that. What was that? In the Line of Duty. It's a bit like that, isn't it? The secret.
When you said the flying squad, I was just sitting there going like this. Oh.
But yeah, so I think he would be ideally. I mean, if you want to do something, that's not the way I really should phrase it. If you're doing something like that, and you're in a position of such power, then you have got the ideal tools to hide everything at your disposal. It's all there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and coupled with the real world reasons that I gave, that's why there is a plausibility there. But once again, people have to remember we're going down rabbit holes here, and this is all complete supposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find it very interesting that the media themselves jumped to the whole supernatural element. Is this Jack the Ripper reincarnated? Oh, what are we going to call him? Oh, let's call him Jack the Stripper. Come on, let's do it.
Well, I mean, it was an easy one for them, wasn't it? Because he did leave all his victims were left basically naked,
Yeah. And I mean, we all know who Jack the Ripper was, don't we?
Yeah. The Prince
who
Regent.
huh?
The Prince Regent.
Oh, it was Dr. Bernardo's mate.
No, it was Prince Regent.
Okay. Anyway, we have to agree to disagree there.
Yeah, no, I think it was a Prince Regent. I think it was the royal family. It was a member of the royal family.
Well, the reason I actually know somebody who wrote a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
And her conclusion and her evidence and her digging really does point to Dr. Bernardo's.
Yeah, maybe it does, but I think on the balance of probabilities, I think the Prince Regent has definitely got to be in the frame.
I mean, it's certainly worth looking, certainly worth taking a look at again. And I think we have to go down that rabbit hole at some point. I do.
We've done Jack the Ripper.
You've titillized Jack the Ripper, but not really. First of all, I wasn't involved.
Yeah, you never are.
I'll just go then, shall I? I'll just go.
If you want, don't go off and do something you'll regret in later life. We don't want the police coming around and searching your attic. Are you sure it was
my attic?
Are you sure it was a fox that did in those rabbits?
I can't get in my attic. I'm a cripple.
Maybe you've got an attic lift as well as a stair lift.
I would absolutely love an attic lift. Anyway.
Yeah. So
let's leave it up to them to decide based on what they've heard.
Yeah, I mean, it could be someone that's not even in the frame, It really could be.
Well, exactly.
I think the Profumo thing is a bit of a red herring. I think that's just coincidence, But maybe not. But it's, why if you're, well, let's face it, if you're used to slumming it, why would you go for something high class? Because it's going to cost you a fortune.
Well, exactly. And let's face it, somebody working in the automotive industry around paint all of the time probably can't afford high class.
Well, I don't think they worked in the automotive industry, because if you remember, what happened was he was using the boiler room to store the bodies.
Yeah, I get that.
The boiler room wasn't it was in a kind of disused part of the old Napier aeronautics works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was still functioning as a boiler room. So it was obviously, maybe some other part of the building was still in use, but this part was disused. So he was storing the bodies in there. It was warm, so they were cooking slightly, right? Some of them had scorch marks on them and things like that. So they'd been there for a few days or weeks on some occasions. But the paint was coming from another shop across the way, which had a big extractor, and it was pulling all the paint fumes and overspray out, and some of it was going into the boiler room.
The other thing that I will say really discounts the 15-year-old child, and this is just my opinion once again, is the fact that surgical precision was used in removal of the teeth.
Hold on.
No. Let me finish my point.
No. You don't have a point here, Ben. The 15-year-old boy killed the two girls, right? The two young girls. He was in his 40s when these murders occurred. Right? He wasn't a 15-year-old boy. True. Right? That's the difference. You don't forget, he's grown up. He's been in the Navy. He's done lots of other things, So you can't give that as a defense.
No, that's a good point. That is a good point. But also, you have to have somebody with at least some medical knowledge to even think about initiating the process of mummification. So
it was just the heat. It was just the heat that did it. It dried the body out slowly. So it's like, if you think about it, like how you get sand mummies, in the desert.
Yeah.
So you'll get mummies that, in Peru and places like that, they'll get wind blown dry. So they're basically desiccated by the wind. And that's what was happening in the boiler room, because it was warm enough for them to dry off all the bodily fluid, so the body was starting to mummify. I know, quite gross, but that's what happens.
I refer to my earlier point. This world really is full of fucked up people, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that we can actually rule out on this one is I think we can rule out the supernatural element, because I don't think this is a reincarnation of Jack the Ripper, because if it had been, it would have been a lot more surgical, I think.
What I think it was when it comes to that respect is the press doing what the press do, and the press making shit up.
Yeah.
To scare people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I think you're right about, I think the teeth were taken as trophies.
Of course. If they weren't found, they were obviously taken for a reason.
Yeah.
Serial killers do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not quite Silence of the Lambs. He wasn't taking their skin and, saying it puts lotion on its skin or else it gets the holes again. But he was taking something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It once again, third time, there are some really fucked up people in this world. And, people do this stuff to this day. Somewhere on the planet, someone's doing something like this to somebody right now. And that doesn't sit right with me. But here we are. We're in a world full of messed up people. And even the most sane people can be messed up sometimes, If you've had a bad week, stay away from a post office, for example.
I saw a postman today, right? And I thought, what is wrong with you, mate? Right?
Was he in shorts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's -3 outside.
Yeah, no, we now only get post once a week here. We get post once a week. And he turns up in shorts.
Why? I mean, we're going back to my infantilization of the adult male, but grown men that wear shorts are still kids.
So let's take some time then, whilst we're here, to refer to the previous story that you put out this week. Let's talk about Twilight Zone, shall we?
Yeah, about our friend Vic Morrow and the two Vietnamese stand-ins.
Yeah, man, those poor kids.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I think John Landis should have been prosecuted just for that alone. I don't know if murder was the right charge.
So you'd never grew up in the 80s as such, right? Because you weren't born until what?
89.
89, right?
So, I was born in the 80s.
Yeah, okay. So the 80s, the 70s and 80s weren't like just now, right?
I know.
It just wasn't like it at all. You did things, you got jobs done, and you didn't really think too much about possible consequences because you just had to get the jobs done, I mean, I remember my uncle used to take me down to the garage at the weekend when he was welding cars, and I would be crouched in the back of the car with the kind of water thing that you pump up.
Yeah.
So I'd have one of them, and I'd pump it up so there was some pressure in it, and I'd be sitting in the back of the car, and he'd be welding the underneath of it. And when the carpet caught fire, my job was to extinguish the fires. Right? Now,
pretty handy.
If you think about it, right, that's a car that nobody drained the petrol tank and took it out, right? Nobody even disconnected the battery. I mean, people just didn't do shit like that. You just get on and did the job. If you didn't have a jack, you put it under you put 3 bricks under it or something like that. And
in that most cars in Scotland, you come out the door, oh shit, it's on bricks again.
Yeah. But people just got on with life, and they made do. And you didn't have this constant, you can't do that because you're this and blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's like the two guys that, and I mean, it's a bit of a leap here, but two team bosses, the Ferrari team boss and the Mercedes team boss in Vegas, right, for Formula One, were chastised by the stewards for using language at the press conference critical of the organisers. Because the whole thing was a shit show.
They should have sorted out the manholes then,
Yes,
shouldn't they?
Exactly. But
I don't even watch that shit, and I know what happened.
But that's the kind of crap that people get put up with, have to put up with these days. And in the 70s and 80s, you didn't even bother. You didn't bother with that. And I tell you another thing. Have you watched The Twilight Zone, the movie?
I have, but a very long time ago.
Because he goes on a rant in it, and he uses the N-word.
Yeah.
To black people.
Did you know that there is an episode of South Park? Yeah, and this is going off on a tangent as well. I'm just relating to the point that you're making, where Trey Parker, the white voice actor, uses the M-word, I believe, 46 times in that episode. And he was celebrated for it.
Yeah, Alphabet Cat. Yes, I know that Spielberg, in fact, that's in the actual episode. I do mention that Spielberg didn't talk to him after that, although they were friends before it. Spielberg was obviously twitching. His bottom was twitching because what he actually said at one point was, "Oh my God, we are all going to jail."
Well, I don't think Spielberg would have even been on set for Landis's part. He wouldn't have been even in the same country, probably.
Probably not. But he was thinking the whole movie crew were going to get, tarred with the same brush. And let's face it, shit happens when you do stuff. Shit does happen sometimes. And even if you try and plan, in fact, sometimes it gets worse when you try and plan things to the utmost, to the nth degree, and things just go wrong. I think Landis didn't help the situation.
Well, I don't think he helped the situation, and also I do think he bears some responsibility. I think he bears a large portion of the responsibility because he knew the rules, and he went behind the union's back. He went behind the studio's back.
He went behind everyone's back when he hired those kids. He shouldn't have hired those kids. Those kids,
exactly. Those kids should not have been working.
Those kids shouldn't have been on set.
No, they should not have been. Well, yeah.
Pardon me.
In fact, you're right. They shouldn't have not just been working. They should not have been on set. They should not have been on set at that time in the morning. Vic Morrow, if he was going to do that scene at that time in the morning, should have been running holding two dummies. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as that. And do you know what? With the quality of 1970s fucking film stock.
Whoa! No! You're getting it completely wrong there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, because that would be shot on film.
Mm-hmm.
What you're seeing is digitized film that's probably been taken off a VHS tape, right? If you actually saw the film, that'll be higher quality than anything that's getting pumped out by Holy Shit just now.
Well, it'll be grainy as fuck.
No, it won't.
Because they always.
No, it won't. Why would it? Why do you think that?
Well, I think that because I've seen enough fucking 1970s movies.
Yeah, but why do you think? So, what you're seeing in most cases is telecine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you actually got to watch the movie on film, right, through a film projector, the thing would look amazing. And if it was a proper transfer, why do you think? I mean, it's like, why do you think all these people that shoot movies put artificial film grain on their shitty 4K stuff? Because it looks better.
Because they want to look cultured. And...
No, because it looks better and your eye works better with it. Because when you get stuff that's too sharp and the frame rate's too high, it makes you think it's a piece of shit because that's not how your eye works and you don't see it correctly.
Can I make my point anyway?
Yeah, you may.
My point is, they would not have been able to tell. Shot at night in the 70s, they would not have been able to tell, and especially as they weren't close-up shots.
No,
So they would not have been able to tell that he was carrying dummies. There was no need to hire children. No need whatsoever. It just seemed to me like John Landis is I'm an authentic filmmaker, don't you know? I need to make sure that it's all authentic, don't you know?
Well,
And,
no, it wasn't that. You didn't have digital effects in those days. Everything was
you need
practical.
digital effects. You dummies. You
No,
dummies.
Yeah, but I mean, right, okay, but there would be close-ups as well. There'd be close-ups of them coming out of the house and things like that. So, yeah, you would need the actors there, right? I mean, I'm not defending him. I'm just saying I can understand why he did it, right? But I'm not defending the actions that he took. I still think it was wrong. Yeah.
I mean, all you'd need to do for that though is build a quick facade on a soundstage, darken the lights, and shoot any close-up shots.
Money and time.
Yeah.
Money and time.
Yeah. Well, I do think that was probably cheaper than hiring a helicopter just to quickly whack up a facade in a soundstage. Probably far cheaper than the setup that they had.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have been able to shoot the helicopter then, would you?
Yeah, I suppose so. But all in all, Vic Morrow clearly didn't like helicopters.
No,
he wasn't a fan.
He had the premonition, the dream that he was going to die in a helicopter crash.
I mean, technically, he died in a helicopter crash.
He did die in a helicopter. He
just wasn't in the helicopter.
Yeah, he still died in a helicopter crash. Yeah, he did.
I mean, to be honest, it's one of the worst cases of wrong position or wrong place at the wrong time I think I've ever seen. Because if he just knocked that stick on the helicopter a fifth of a millimeter to the right, he'd have missed him.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, he'd have missed it. It's so.
But these things happen all the time, don't they? You know.
But then that's where the supernatural element comes in, isn't it?
Because, well, is it supernatural or is it fate? Is it just like fate?
Yeah, but is fate itself a supernatural entity?
Possibly, I don't know. Or is it natural?
Oh.
Is it natural?
Are we digging a bit deep into a rabbit hole here?
Probably, but is fate natural? I mean, if fate's real, then one would think it's not supernatural; it's natural.
Well, maybe. We're getting a bit abstract here. We're getting a bit abstract.
Maybe it's maybe it's not. No, Alpha Cat says, I believe Spielberg left in his private jet to avoid the authorities. There you go.
You know what? That sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, that's information I did not know. That's correct.
I mean, he used to make absolutely fantastic movies. You know, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Jaws, the best movie ever made, the original Jaws, made by Steven Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. These were great movies.
Yeah.
But in the last sort of decade, 50, if he does make a movie, he just pumps out shite, doesn't he? He did a remake of West Side Story starring Rachel Ziegler.
Not seen it.
Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it.
He made the first Jurassic Park as well.
Yes, of course he did. He made
that was good.
Didn't he shoot the first two Jurassic Parks?
Possibly.
I think he made
the first one was the best one.
Yes, he did shoot the Indiana Jones films, the first 4 of them. He didn't shoot the 5th one.
I gave up at 3.
But the point is, the stuff that he puts out, like Alphabet Cat says, I liked War of the Worlds, but his recent stuff, I didn't like his remake of War of the Worlds at all.
No.
I think it missed the mark.
What about Schindler's List? Did he?
You know, sometimes I have to go in Schindler's List.
I've never seen Schindler's List.
You've never seen a Schindler Lift?
No, I've seen a Schindler List, but I've never seen that movie.
Well, yeah. Alphabet Cat says, Wise John, Crystal Skull was meh. That's the 4th Indiana Jones
right,
movie.
okay. Yeah.
It was shite. It was utter shite. And then he made Ready Player One, which was
that
utter
was
shite.
awful.
Garbage.
I tried to watch that, gave up after about 20 minutes.
You know what? When I think of Schindler's List, I think of Liam Neeson, and I'm just going to go off on a tangent here because why do they keep hiring that man to play Americans?
I don't know.
Hi, I'm Liam Neeson. I've still got a bit of an Irish accent. I will find you. I will kill you.
At least when you hired Sean Connery, you still got the Scottish accent.
It was like Sean Bean when they did Game of Thrones, and everyone was set to have a southern accent in that Stark family.
Nope.
And they went, Sean, can you do a home counties accent? He just went, fuck that.
Oh.
And so the entire Stark family had to speak like Sean Bean.
One does not simply change to a southern accent.
Actually, The Terminal with Tom Hanks, I really enjoyed that film. I like that film.
Never seen it.
That is a good film. It's a good film. I enjoy it.
I don't like Tom Hanks.
But it falls outside of that window. It falls outside of that window of just the recent stuff. The man has made millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars. And he has these such amazing projects behind him. These movies that are timeless. Like I say, Jaws, I could watch that film every day. I love that film. And I love the story behind how it was made as well. But he could retire. All he's doing is destroying whatever legacy he has by making this shit. John's just got up and left. He's gone. I don't know what he's doing. It's very unprofessional, to be honest. Very unprofessional indeed. We're gonna have to talk about his salary.
Have you read the book?
John, I was just telling them that just getting up and leaving, we're gonna have to talk about your salary because that was very unprofessional.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about salary. Have you read the book?
What, Ready Player One?
No, Jaws.
Yes, I've read the book.
The book's way better than the movie.
But the movie itself is a masterpiece, especially that opening scene. That opening scene is one of the most tense few minutes ever put to film.
Yeah. And it's the same with Michael Crichton. All his books are fantastic.
Yeah.
His movies, not so much, or the movies that were made from his books.
Oh yeah, I completely understand. But getting back onto topic for a bit.
Yeah.
The Twilight Zone itself is also, it's one of those supernatural shows / movies. It looks at basically alternate dimensions and rabbit holes and the supernatural and the like. And I'm a bit of a nerd, and I kind of dig it. But a man that had a premonition about his own death died whilst filming for that particular show / movie.
Yeah, I know.
But
so
I think
I'm just working out what age Spielberg is.
Too old. He should have retired.
He's about 76, I think.
Yeah, just retire, man.
He was older than that.
It's enough.
Yeah.
Retire. Let somebody else take the limelight and make a good movie. Oh wait, Hollywood don't want to make good movies. They want to shove political agendas down your throat.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to come back and
No, they're gonna
have to come back.
Have we had actually any actual feedback about our different style that we've tried with these last two rabbit holes?
What we'll do is we'll ask people to take a think, come back, and leave a comment.
Yeah, do that, people. Give us a comment. Yeah, don't just say it was great. Say, yeah, I liked this, or I didn't like that, or I preferred this, or I preferred that. You know, give it some thought.
And these are sort of just us starting out on looking at doing things like this. Things will ultimately get more polished, more advanced. This was a day's worth of work between the two of us. If we know like a fortnight in advance, we can certainly tighten things up, polish things,
Yeah,
make things look and sound better.
Yeah, because I mean, literally, I decided. Well, I didn't decide that. I had the thought of doing this last night when I was in bed, and I asked Ben about it this morning, and he thought it was a good idea. So I started cutting it then. So I didn't actually start cutting until about what 10.
Yeah. Spencer says, just my opinion, but I like the direction. John's voice can be a bit ominous when narrating.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I think it depends on the type of story you're telling. I would say for this type of story, probably good.
Right.
But once again, we aren't used to doing pieces to camera that aren't live and off the cuff and just us thinking out loud. We aren't used to trying to tell a story and put that sort of emotion behind it as well. And it's like the intro. I really did try. I think I could have hit the mark on the gag a little bit tighter. I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah, I know, and it's it's easier when you're doing just a voiceover to cut the crap out, because when you've got your face as well, you've got to time things to how you look, But I think it's quite interesting, and it gives you a little more scope to show things, because showing a slide is a bit limiting, And when you're showing a clip as part of a slideshow, you'll never. I mean, actually, when we do our own shows live, sometimes I cut them off early because you realise that you don't want to see all that. Whereas when you're editing in it, you've reviewed it 3 or 4 times, so you know what length and what just the bare essentials that needs to go in and what you want. Yeah.
And I'm spending a lot of time at the moment learning editing. John will know this because, and I'm playing with ideas and things like chroma key and stuff like that. So I filmed all of that on a green screen earlier. I need to sort of work out how to do that a bit better, and I think lighting is a big issue. So I think I need to light it all a bit better. But these sorts of things, they will evolve, they will get slicker. And like John said, I think, personally speaking, it does a disservice to you, the audience, to sort of spitball and, opine your way through the story. I think the story needs to be the star of the show, shall we say. It needs to be up front, and we need to give you that story as a whole before we give you anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So should I not have put my opinion about superintendent?
No, because you put it in the right place.
Oh, right. Okay.
You put it in the right place. I mean, you can always do that, but when you're doing it in such a way that go to slide 26 when you've just done slide 1.
Yeah, I know.
And you're doing things out of order, and I just think giving people a structured narrative they can follow.
Yeah. And I think, that's part of the problem when you do things live, in that you do tend to jump around a little bit, don't you? I mean, we do it. We do it in our own show sometimes, because you've seen me go, I'll not even bother mentioning that because we talked about it earlier,
And there's nothing wrong with that, but if we're trying to do this, provide a much better quality product, I think narrative and story, when it comes to a show like this, especially, has got to be priority, and we've not got to treat the audience. We've not got to take them for granted. We got to don't treat them like they're dumb. Give them the story. Give them it in full, in all the dirty details, and then we can have this discussion. And this discussion afterwards could go on for hours, for all we know, on some of these shows. Yeah. But it's always good to put that story right up front. And you know what? Audience might be small, but you guys you come back again and again and again and again. And it doesn't matter what we do, right? I can turn up with my guitar and sing you songs for 2 hours. You come back. John can turn up and just have a random story about, fucking monoliths and the like. You come back.
That's when I used to turn up and just do random stories about things like, the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to address the chat. Dreadeye says, John, as for the boiler room, are you sure they weren't in the paint ovens? No, I'm pretty sure they weren't, because the boiler room was in a different building. The painting operation wasn't part of the Napier Works. It was a separate car painter, and he was across the way, but he had big extractor fans that pulled all the fumes out. And obviously any overspray would get caught up in that and get flung across. And I think that's how it was getting. It was like, you remember what it was like in the 60s? Everybody had those stupid louver glass windows up high. And then there was always one or two of them broken. So it was always fucking freezing because you could never shut the thing. So I think that's what was happening,
Frankie says, down the rabbit hole with both of you?
Yeah. Have you just joined us, Frankie? You missed the first 20 minutes is the part to watch. That's the interesting part. Yeah. Then it's just us.
Yeah. but yeah, Ed the Techie is he's swimming with the fishes. Quite literally, he's diving in Egypt.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He nearly got taken out by a moray.
Yeah, I've seen some of his videos. He's been putting out some videos as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I spoke to him earlier, actually, and I sent him proof of concept for the intro because we've been discussing it beforehand. He loves it, by the way, which is always good.
Yeah.
And he's having a great time. So Frankie says, I have been watching the footy.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed the footy. I do. But I think that this might be the time.
Floats your boat.
I don't think we want to overstay our welcome. I think that I enjoyed the way it was done today, and I, for the time you spent on it and how quickly you threw it together, I think you did a great job.
Thank you. I think I must admit it's a lot less stressful. Because you're working on your own, putting it all together, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. The only stress point there was to make sure I had it done in time for the show tonight. But putting stuff together to then present is it's like a double stress, because you've got to get all the stuff ready, then you've got to put it in order, and then you've got to present it on the show in order, also while doing everything else like switching camera angles and making sure streams are running properly and all that kind of crap, So it's certainly a lot less stressful, because, as I said, I only had 2 buttons to push. 1, start stream, and 2, run the pre-roll. And that was it. Yeah,
it was good. I mean, I genuinely think that this is how these shows need to go going forwards. That's my opinion. I can't wait for their opinion. Don't forget, leave us a comment on the show and let us know what you think. And if you have any genuine criticisms, that are not just "you guys are fucking assholes," because we already know that.
Yeah, you don't need to don't state the obvious. It's a cheap shot.
If you have any genuine criticisms or suggestions, leave them. Leave a comment. Leave them. We would very much appreciate it. And on that note, thank you. And if you do want to support us further, to build not just the shows that we do normally, but this show, and build the quality out and help us get, what your support is helping us do is get programs that we have to buy, equipment that we have to buy, just so that we can raise up the quality. I mean, I'm working on a 720p camera here, people. I need to raise that quality. But if you can help us out, then please consider supporting us at Ko-fi.
Sorry, carry on.
No, we're not doing news on this show.
No, I'm not doing news.
Were you about to talk about Paul McCartney?
Yeah. I assume she means, is Frankie a she or a he? She? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm assuming you mean the alleged death of Paul McCartney in the car crash in the 60s. That's what I'm assuming, because Paul McCartney's alive and well and living in Liverpool.
As if you, John, I'm a guy. Frankie, if you want to sponsor one of my balls, hold on. If you want to sponsor one of my balls, there's a theme this year. There is a theme. I've got 3 balls on the tree. One says, John is wrong. One says, Jai Code is wrong. And one says, John is a little bitch. If you'd like to sponsor one, I'll just put that in the chat right now.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's a whole rabbit hole. It really is. I don't think we're talking about real death here. Although, what's his name died, didn't he?
Which one?
Shane McGowan.
Lennon.
Shane McGowan died today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No fairy tales from New York for him. There you go.
I mean, I imagine they were about to start, retroactively censoring his songs anyway.
It's like the radio was on the other day when I was in the gym, and this song was playing, and the words are missing, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? And they're just
Darling Pops too.
They're just cutting out words.
And Henry Kissinger.
Yeah. No great loss there.
Yeah. Alphabet Cat says that is at least 2 rabbit hole shows there. Probably.
Yeah.
And even on the episodes where it's John and Ed doing these conversations, I will be filming those intros for every show. So you will have to put up with me on every show.
And I know. And he's a pain in the arse because you've got to write him You've got to write him a full script, including a short list, which he then ignores and goes and makes his own up.
Absolutely, that's the way it should be.
So why do you need a short list if you're just going to
I didn't ask for a short list. All I asked for was a script.
Well, a script would have a short list in it.
Just give me words to read. I'll do the rest.
Right, you don't want a script then, you just want dialogue. That's all you want.
Okay, just give me dialogue. Give me dialogue.
For God's sake, man, say what you mean. Mean what you say.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Really appreciate it.
And so do I.
Cannot get the staff anymore.
So do I. Thank you, Ben. I've really enjoyed them. I've actually quite enjoyed this tonight. It's been good because it's definitely been less stressful for me. I don't know about you, but it's been good.
It was far more stressful for me because I usually do nothing on these shows. Nothing.
Yeah. It's been good to get a little chat after the event, as so to speak. So there you go. Right. Is that us?
Well, I've already said thank you to them about 60 times.
You haven't reclined.
I don't recline anymore.
All right, okay. Well, you know what, people? It's been great for you.
The Christmas tree's on fire. Santa's holding just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Which one of you did that?